I know Good evening. Good evening. How's everyone doing today? Thank you all who have joined. Hi, Samantha. Hi, Dad. Hi, Lady Kim. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining tonight. If you guys would like and share, I would appreciate it. Move my coffee to sit out the way. Yes. Hello, hello, hello. If you would invite someone to join tonight, I'm back. I am back. I am back. I am back. Hi, Samantha. How are you? Thanks for joining tonight. Hello, hello, hello. You all would share the live for me. It has been a while since I've been on live. And I want to talk a little bit about why. Hi, Mom. Thanks for joining tonight. Thanks for joining. Jump on, jump on, jump on. I'm going to give it a moment. Hi, Joseph. How are you? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for joining tonight. And I'm going to give it about one more minute. Yes? Hello, hello, hello. If y'all would jump on, speak to me. Oh, thank you so much, Joseph. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to get started. Welcome back, everyone. Get your fan. I turned the air conditioner on. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've joined on, please say hi to me so that I can acknowledge you. Again, thank you all for joining tonight. It is Heart Conversations with Jeauninè. I have been gone for a while, and we're going to talk about that tonight. But I wanted to come back, try to come back, a little bit of everything tonight. So thank you all for joining me. If you would share the live, I would appreciate it. I believe in some point of this conversation tonight, I'll say something to encourage you, I hope. It is the mission of Heart Conversations with Jeauninè hi Corday, hi Pastor Burrows. Thank you all for joining. It is always my mission to embrace, to encourage, to enlighten, to educate, and to empower men and women to be better versions of themselves by any means necessary. I have been gone for a while. Hello to everyone. Hello, hello, as you're coming in, if you would share the live. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Didn't have a lot of time to make the decision that I was going to go live tonight, but thank you all for joining me tonight. As you know, Heart Conversations was birthed some years ago, years and years ago, definitely over 20 years ago. It wasn't named Heart Conversations at that time. It was something that I was doing where I was speaking to people or those who contacted me, my, group, my children, my adopted children, friends and family, felt very comfortable with having conversations with me, talking to me about life situations, about work, about relationships, family, finances. It's been a little bit of everything. And some years ago, I decided to get certified to properly be able to help, right? Help people, because ultimately everything about Jeauninè is helping someone. And I've come up with Help, HELP, helping everyone live on purpose. And so if you know me, you know that's something that I strive to do. It is a passion of mine and it is my purpose. And so I have come on the lives for some time and just had conversations about things that were going on. Hi, Lady Cox. Things that were going on in life, situations, just trying to give different perspective to people to change their mind of thinking the negative first and maybe thinking the whole situation out before they go straight to the negative, right? There's positive in every situation. So I've done that for some years, started coming on Facebook Live and giving perspective and talking about some of the conversations that I've had over the years and, recent conversations, talking about those and my perspective about those and giving guidance and giving tips of how we can be better versions of ourselves, what we all needed to do. And I took some time off. It wasn't deliberate where I sat down and said, okay, I'm going to not do live from this time to that time. Life started lifing. And when I say life started lifing, it started lifing. Most of the times when I come on here, I'm talking about conversations that I've had with people and their situation, not necessarily my own. I have used my own situations as tools to get people to understand boundaries and respect and different things like that. But today I'm going to talk about me a little bit, something that I don't do often, and where I've been and what's going on. I don't even remember the last time that I've been live, actually. I do apologize if there may be someone who look forward to my lives or feel that there's something that they can get from my lives and I haven't been, so I apologize. But life has been lifing for Jeauninè. I don't think I did a live after this. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about one of the reasons why I haven't been on live and what's going on with me and the next steps of Heart Conversations and what new things I have in the works. So I have been missing May 1st. I work in the healthcare field in the quality department and have been there for several years. And within the healthcare department, there's the beginning of the year is our big year. It's our time of year where we are ensuring that our members have been properly taken care of throughout the year. So it's a really big project that we work on at the beginning of the year, and it lasts from January to May 6th. May 6th, yes. And so this year, the day before we ended this project, and the project is called HEDIS, the day that we ended this project, we were called into a meeting, and my team is very small. It was about a total of maybe like 11 of us, maybe just 10, maybe 11. And we were called in by our executive director to let us know that our line of business, the health plan that I worked for, was being sunset, which means they were closing my line of business. Probably one of the most devastating calls Jeauninè, have ever been on, okay? I've had jobs, when I was 16, I started at KB Toy Store and then went to Toys R Us and then Project Teenage. So I've worked a great deal of my life. That was the first time that I ever got a call that the line of business, my job, what I've done for years was coming to a close. The one of the most devastating. And, some people may say, oh, well, Jeauninè, you could get a new job. Absolutely, I can. I have the skills, the skill set, and all that I need to get another job. That's not the problem at all. But that day after we got off the call, we wasn't finished this big project, so we had to finish winding down the project. But after that, there was like, I want to say maybe like an empty spot. And it wasn't necessarily, what am I going to do now? That wasn't my thought pattern. I think that my thought pattern in that moment was, are they crazy? Now I have to look for another job. What's happening? What was interesting in that conversation, and I'm going to try to say this without saying everything, but what was interesting in this conversation was, so the health plan was closing effective 12/31/2025, and we would all have to look for new jobs. Now, what they did say to us was that they would help us to find these new jobs, and they were creating a program or updating a program for us to find other jobs. One of the things that they said that I thought was very interesting and weird at the same time was that they wanted me to apply for a job and then interview for the job within the company, but still apply and then interview. My thought pattern at the time was, if you're letting me go, but you want me to stay with the company, place me somewhere. I don't want to apply. I don't want to have to look. I don't want to have to start all over again. So however you can help, just go ahead and help. That wasn't it. Excuse me. So it was all of you, okay, and all of my coworkers are all females. So all of you, whether you have kids or not, whether you have family or not, whether you have bills or not, whether you have things coming up, vacation, household thing, whatever, it was like everything stopped for me in that moment. And after thinking about it for some time, as the days went on, because then it just got very silent at work. Nobody was talking, nobody really had anything to say. When you did have a conversation or had to jump on a meeting, it sounded very quiet. You can hear the quiver in people's voices as they talked. It was one of the most emotional times of my life. Please know that as I'm saying this, I am not saying that my faith died or it shrunk or I was nervous or scared. Those were never any of my emotions, but I was kind of angry in the moment that you would tell me that in this big project that we're doing in this moment, that I don't have a job as of 12/31. A couple of weeks went by and we had another meeting, and it was, you need to find a job as soon as possible. It was no more 12/31. It was, you need to find something as soon as possible. Please let us know all of the jobs that you are applying for. We'll try to reach out to the hiring managers in your favor. But we need to get this done as soon as possible. It took me about a week and a half to come out of that place, right? Because again, it was something that I've never experienced, someone telling me that I have to look for another job. I sit in corporate, so this is not like just any type of job. This is a corporate job. And there was a few issues that I had with this whole scenario. One of the issues was, do I leave the organization or do I stay with the organization? At this point in time, you telling me I have to look for another job. I'm not really happy about this. And the fact that your turnover is rapid and often is a concern of mine. I need stability. If anybody knows me, I am very dedicated. If you are the person who do my nails, I'm coming to you all the time. I'm not switching back and forth. If you do my hair, I'm coming to you. I'm not switching back and forth. Once you're doing something, a service for me, and I'm appreciative, or once I'm comfortable, I know my job, I feel like I have the ability to grow and maybe move up. I get not necessarily comfortable, but I'm okay doing with what I did. So I was in a place. I mean, crying, just in disbelief, upset, feeling away. And that took a while for me to actually come out of that. But one thing that I said the entire time of this process, and those of you who don't know, I'm in school. And my job pays for me to go to school. I pay absolutely nothing. They pay everything. And so my thing was to my supervisors, because of course they're going to call, hey, Jeauninè, want to check on you. How's everything going? And my thing was, I don't finish school until December. So I'm not sure how we're going to work this out, but I don't finish school until December. And what I do not want to do now is add trying to find a job onto everything else that I have going on in my life that is lifing at this moment. I don't want to do it. So they came up with this every Friday, send us the jobs that you have. And so my manager was like, I haven't received anything from Jeauninè. Let me give her a call and find out what's going on. So she gave me a call. And my response was the same. I have school until December 31st. I don't graduate until December. And what I cannot do is in this moment leave the job because they're paying for me to go to school. And I've been doing this for a year or two. And I do not want to stop or, have to leave and not be able to graduate. I've put in too much work from this. I had that situation from May until today, right? And even though that situation came up, I still had to do my job. They still expected us to still fully show up, be present, and do our jobs. And that I had to do. Well, in the time span from May until now, there has been some shifting going on where some of the young ladies that I worked with have already found different positions and they've actually moved, and it's only a few of us left. One thing that I can say that I'm grateful to God that He always proves Himself to me. I, again, was never scared in this moment. I was not scared, right? I know my capabilities. I know I'm good at what I do. I know that every job I go to, they want me to stay. They don't want me to leave because I come and I do more than enough, right? So I wasn't scared about it. I was more in a place because you're telling me this, I've worked my way to a certain position where I am now. It became comfortable. I got to learn more things and the whole thing. Anyway, I was never scared in this process, more or less angry and grieving. And what I came to understand in this process is that, we look at grieving as just if someone dies. We don't look at grieving as if it can be in other forms, and it can be. Those other forms can be a loss of a job, a loss of a friend, a loss of something very special and dear to us. It can be, us failing a really big task that we have. That loss in the moment, in the beginning, I didn't look at it, but it was a loss. And I actually went through grieving of this job. Grieving, I'm upset that it's lost. What am I going to do? How am I going to figure this out? What job am I going to go into? Am I going to still stay in the healthcare field? Am I going to go somewhere else? I had to think about the fact of my comfortability being disturbed, the plan that I had for the seat that I currently sat in, where I wanted to go and how I wanted to get there. It was so many different things, but those emotions that you have while grieving, I experienced. The angry, the sad, the resentful, regretting decisions. It was a whole bunch of things that were involved in this process. And it was a grieving process for me because it was actually something that I lost. Yes, I still sat in the seat, but knowing that at a certain time that seat didn't belong to me anymore was life altering. It was life changing, and it changed me, not in a negative way. It actually increased my hope. It actually increased my faith. It actually increased me patting myself on the back. Sometimes we forget to encourage ourselves. Like, that's a whole topic in itself. Sometimes because we're grieving or because we're angry or upset in the moment, we forget to look at the whole picture. And I think that this is everything that I always talk about, is that we need to stop in a moment. Hey, Tracy, how are you? How are you? We need to stop in a moment and peel away the layers, those layers of everything that we're going through, no matter what they are, whether it's finances, whether it's job situation, whether it's relationship, whether it's church. Peel those layers back and see you in the moment. And I had to take a moment to see me in this. Not that I forgot about me, not that I pushed myself to the side, but I had to encourage myself and remind myself of who I am and whose I am. I had to remind myself, which gave me great encouragement, because I had to think about, Jeauninè, how did you get to this job anyway? Well, I got to this job because someone called me to come. I didn't apply for the job that I sit in. Somebody called me and said, I know how you work. I know your skills. I know your ability. I need you on my team. And they made it happen. I'm glad you're doing well. Love you. So they called me for the job. I didn't seek out for this job. They came for me. And I had to take a moment and had to actually say to myself, Jeauninè, hold on a minute now. Hold on. Think about this. Let's think this through. You are a very confident person, not conceited, confident. I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident in every skill set that I possess. I'm confident that if you give me something, I'm going to make sure that it gets done. I'm going to make sure that it gets done right, on time, if not early. I'm very confident. I know what I give. I know what I have to give. So, Jeauninè, you are confident, which means you can walk into any place and basically secure what you want. I had to remember myself in this moment. I had to go back and pat myself on my own back. I had to remind myself of who I am. I had to remind myself of whose I am. I had to remind myself of what I possess and what I offer. And it got me to a point. Now, let me go back for a moment. That in this situation, soon as we found out all of this information, there's a chat that I have with all my coworkers. And I went into this chat and I said to them, ladies, y'all all know how I speak, because the way I speak on this live and how I speak to everyone on the phone is the same way I speak to my coworkers. And I said to them, everything happens on purpose for our purpose. That is a declaration. That is something that I will always say. Everything happens on purpose for our purpose. Not just, everything happens on purpose. It's not, by coincidence it happens. No, we have to add extra to that. It's not just happening on purpose, but it's happening for me. Some kind of way this is going to work out in our benefit. And that's what I said to them. Some kind of way this is going to, work in our benefit. I said to them, some type of way we are going to get more than what they feel like we're going to get. You're just telling me to look for a job. You're not telling me what type of job to look for. You're not telling me, what my boundaries are, what I can do, what I can't do. You're just telling me that I need to look for another job. So what I encouraged them in that moment was, so they're letting us go, and this is our opportunity to get a promotion. Even though I'm at this particular level, now that you've put me in this seat of not having a job no more, and you're telling me that I can now apply for what I want, you're basically telling me exactly that I can apply for what I want. Not only what I want, but what I deserve. My thing to my managers was, my title is not what I've been doing for the last 2.5 years. My title is here. But the work that I've done, what you've required of me, what you've asked of me has been here. So what I cannot and what I will not do is look for a job here. I haven't done the job here. Y'all have had me here. Unfortunately, you wasn't able to add a title to where I was, but what you did allow me to gain that extra experience to add to my resume. That's what you've done. So I encourage everybody, even in the tears, even in the not understanding, even in the anger, being in the moment, I encourage everybody, make the best of this. Make the best of this. Even though we feel a way in this moment, there's more for us that's going to come out of this. Did I know what that was? Absolutely not. And for a couple of weeks, I didn't care because I was crying, mad, and upset. God reminded you who you are. Yes, he reminded me of who I was. And sometimes in our circumstances, sometimes as life is lifing, we have to remind ourselves of who we are, what we carry, who we carry, the name that we carry, right? Because that gives us favor. And everybody says favor ain't fair. I don't necessarily agree with that. I believe favor is fair. You know why? Because there's a lot of things that I had to go through, that I had to push through, that God rewarded me with favor. So I worked for that. So it may not be fair for you because you may not be getting it, or you may not be getting the kind of favor that I'm getting. But for me, it's fair, right? So I encourage them in this moment, even though I'm crying and sniffing and going on and all that kind of stuff. Well, how God works, how he works. They basically said to us, so 12/31, that's going to be it for you. But in the meantime, we need you to continue to work, right? So what they did was, my particular health plan housed 19 different health plans throughout the United States. It was 19 of them guys, right? So once they did what they needed to do, of course, this is all for financial reasons, they took out 18 of the health plans, which only leaves us one health plan. I come to work every single day. I came to work when I didn't want to go to work. I went to work when I didn't feel well. I went to work. Everybody says if Jeauninè ain't gonna do nothing else, she going to work. And I'm going to work and I'm doing my job. And because of that, people see me. Because I'm on every meeting, people see my name. Because I have to respond back, people see my name. They see how I speak and how I handle different projects and how I respond back to the execs and what I do and how I do it. Long story short, because this story is long, but long story short, they reduced it to one health plan. And in the midst of them saying, y'all have to leave, y'all only have to 12/31, my senior manager found another position and she moved, which left my regular manager still there because she was still, working and, hadn't made a decision on whether she was going to leave or look for another position in the company. So she was still there. So once they realized, right, because when you make a move without a plan, when you make a move and you're not prepared, your plan is going to look absolutely crazy. So they did all of this, sunsetting all of this, the health plans as far as 12/31, but forgot that there was a health plan that we had to continue, meaning we had to continue normal engagement, right? We couldn't just put them over to the side and say, okay, since we finished with them, we're not doing any work, because after the conversation, it was, halt all work. There's nothing else for you all to do, just look for other jobs. That was basically what we was doing until they realized that there was a contract with a health plan that they had to continue. And so my manager had a conversation with the executive leadership, and the leadership was basically saying, and I'm sorry that my testimony is a little long, but I got to tell y'all this. But they had a conversation with my manager, and they basically say, we need this to work. We got to get this done. This state has to be taken care of, or we might incur fines, money. They can take us to court, whatever the case to be. So my manager went into the meeting and said, if you want this to work, where this state is taken care of. If you want, what needs to be done to work, I'm going to need somebody to be there. You told everybody that they had to leave, but I'm going to need someone who's well-versed in all of the areas, who knows how to, train, who knows how to lead, who knows how to get things done. And she mentioned my name. Listen, let me encourage you. Sometimes we may not be on that phone call that somebody is mentioning our name. We may not be in that room that somebody is mentioning your name. You may not sit in a seat that somebody is pushing for you to sit in, but your name may be called. I encourage you all tonight that whatever you do, whether it's working or volunteering or being present in your kids' life, or being there at work and making sure that you do all that you have to do, somebody is going to see you and they're going to say your name. And I can testify today that she went in the room and said my name. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have to look for a job at the end of the year. I still have to look for a job at the end of the year. But I don't have to work and try to look for a job at the same time. Her saying my name solidified me not having to look for a job. Did that happen for everybody? No, it did not. But what I did was I made sure that my work lined up with my name. Because some people are saying names in rooms, and it's not because they do good work. It's not because they show up and they're present and they're coming to do what's necessary. There's some people that's saying people's names because they don't work, because they have nasty attitudes, because they don't want to be bothered, because they're lazy, because they don't want to, take initiative, because they don't want to go above and beyond. So make sure when you're asking God to put your name in rooms, make sure that your name is worthy to be in that room. Make sure your name is worthy to be in the room. There's a scripture that says that God will, let me get this right, He'll bring you before great men. I don't have it right now. May the work I speak for me. Exactly. Say my name. Say my, actually, that's a whole song. But He'll bring you before great men. I can't remember the scripture right now, but my thing is, sometimes we think that room where our name is going to be spoken is only when it comes to ministry or only when it comes to church. Work ethics must be absolutely. We think that when the scripture talks about putting your name in rooms and having great men look for you, I can't remember the scripture right now. Now I'm going to look for it. Hold on a second. I've been going for a moment, but y'all hold on for a second. I got something to say. Here we go. Found it. And all these people in this live, nobody wanted to give me the scripture. Proverbs 18 and 16. Is that it? King James Version. Let me look at that. 18 and 15, 16. Nope. 16. In the, this is the King James Version. This is Proverbs 18 and 16. It says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. Sometimes we think that that's just referring to church. That's not just referring to church. That's taking my name and putting it before me. Not just my name, but my works, what I've done, my integrity, my character, how I speak, how I move, how I operate. All of that is included. And sometimes we feel like that scripture, your gifts, is going to make room for you only when it comes to ministry. No, that should be who you are completely, no matter what room I step into. no matter what room, and you may have several different gifts. You can be able to do several different things, right? But you got to be very confident in that. It's not just about the skill that you have, but what do you have to go with that skill? Can you speak to the people? Right? You could type all day, but can you deliver that in a way that the people understand that it's effective, that they can now move on it, or they can do whatever they need to do? Let me tell you something. When I say God yet proves himself, and sometimes I could have stayed stuck in the fact that they told me that my job was lost instead of thinking about, okay, y'all can tell me that, but I remember who I am. And where you say 12/31 is going to be my last day, I know a God, I know of God, and I know him to be very present, and I know that he can make a way out of no way. And I also know that he will give me the desires of my heart. Now, I don't want everybody going around and say he's going to give me the desires of my heart, because there's another piece that goes with that. It says, if you delight yourself in him, he'll give you the desires of your heart. And so them saying this to me, I had to remember I'm more than this, right? I'm more than this. And I know only thing I kept saying to them was, I don't finish school until 12/31. I don't know what to tell y'all. I don't know what y'all gonna do and how y'all gonna do it. But y'all have a contract with this school that y'all gonna pay them until 12/31/2025. So figure it out. My manager came to me and said, Jeauninè, basically we've solidified you. You are here until 12/31. That may not be a big deal to anybody. Right? And again, I wasn't worried about a job, because the last job that I had, they waiting for me to come back to them anyway. He's amazing. Tracy, yes, everywhere I get, I say my absolutely. AJ, where's the organizer? Talk about the conditions. Listen. If you delight yourself in him, he'll give you the desires of your heart. I could have stayed stuck in the fact that they told me that I was losing my job. I could have stayed stuck in the fact that I got to apply. I got to interview. I got to now do everything all over again. And even though that may be the end result for me, it's not a bad thing, because I know who I am. And I know that what I desire is mine. And if a specific job that I do apply for, I don't get, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And another revelation that I got out of this, and I want somebody to please grab hold to this, share this live with somebody. We got so comfortable as a team. We got very comfortable. I enjoyed going to work. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to enjoy going to work, but I enjoyed going to work. Again, we had a small team. We talked, we laughed, we did our business. I mean, our ratings were out the door. We came in and we did what we needed to do. Wonderful team. But we became very comfortable in what we know how to do. We became very comfortable with what we know. And what God had to do, right? Because everybody want to throw in the enemy. I'm not giving him that much credit. People go off, the devil did this and that. No, he didn't. Okay? He ain't even messing with some of us. So I don't even understand why we go so hard with him. But God had to stir things up. He had to shift in order for us to get up from being comfortable to reach where we wanted to reach, that desire that we had, right? My end desire is not to be there. My end desire is to be the boss. I'm talking about the boss. I'm not talking about the boss level that I'm on now. I'm talking about above that, 2 steps above that, where I tell them what to do. Not because I just want to tell people what to do, because I understand who I am. I am a leader. I know how to lead, and I know what it takes to lead. And that's where they have me. And so I know that sometimes God will do things to make you get uncomfortable. He will take you from the place of comfortability. He will stir things up, make you think that you are losing your mind. Okay, because I did not understand. This was one of the hardest things that I've had to go through. And it may not be big for some people. I find another job all the time. Well, that may come from somebody who switches job every 2 to 3 years. That's not something that I do. No shade. But I am a person who's on jobs for 10, 12 years. That shows stability. I live there. I live in the stability. And so it may not be a big deal to some people because they are constantly looking for jobs. That's not Jeauninè's thing. Jeauninè's thing is I am dedicated to the job. And as long as the job is paying me what I'm worth, I'm going to do what I need to do. But of course, there's other levels that I want to get to. Well, if I'm comfortable, how am I going to get to that level? I'm just going to come to work every day and be stuck in what I'm doing and not go to where I deserve to be. Anyway, I said all of that tonight to say, do what you need to do to ensure that when your name is in the room, when your name is brought up in the room, it's brought up for elevation and not a downgrade. Make sure that when people are able to speak about you, and I'm not just talking about in the church world, I'm talking about in the corporate world, right? Where your bills are being paid, okay? Make sure that when those people speak your name, they're speaking integrity. They're speaking about somebody who comes to work and ain't messy. They're speaking about somebody who comes to work on time. Hello. They're speaking about somebody who comes to work on time to do their job. And then once they do their job, if there's something additional that they need to do, they're getting it together. Somebody who understands teamwork. It's not just about going to work. And I think that some people are unhappy where they are because we're just choosing jobs just to get a paycheck and not something that's going to make me feel like there's purpose in it. Or that the purpose and passion that God has given me kind of lines up with what I do every day. 8 to 5 over 4:30. Make sure, right? Because we quote that scripture, we tell God we want this, and God, I want this job, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this. Make sure that your wants and your desires line up with who you are. Because sometimes we're asking for stuff that we don't deserve. Hello. Sometimes we're requesting stuff that we don't deserve. Sometimes we think that we should be in rooms that God has not placed us in yet. Why? Because we're not ready. We have not done the work. You talking, AJ? AJ, you're crazy. You got to be able to do the work. Don't be mad at the job for letting you go because you don't do your work. And I knew that was never my testimony. I was not concerned about, oh, Jeauninè's not doing her job, so they let me go. That wasn't it. Y'all needed to save money. And because of all of the changes that's going on with the world, with the president that y'all have, y'all figured, let's jump ship before the ship got to kick us off. That's what that situation was. But even in their situation, even in them letting us go, and some of the girls have left and are upset about where they are, not necessarily upset, but really wanted to be with the team, right? Just wanted to stay with the team. And I got a message actually from one of them today asking what's going on. And I had to say to her today, like they, are allowing me to stay. Why? Why are they allowing me to stay? Because I solidified my seat by my works. That's good. Put that in the comments. I solidified my seat by my works. We want to sit in seats, A, that's not assigned to us. We want to sit in seats, too, that are too heavy for us. We want to sit in seats that are shrunk or too big for us to be in. So I ensured that when my name was called, everything that came behind that was solidified. So that if you know that Jeauninè is staying, you know that the work is going to get done and you're not going to have to worry about it. Anyway, God is great and he's awesome in all his ways. And I've learned and I'm learning not to despise what we go through. Like that situation could have sent me into a depression, a state of depression. Okay. Especially that and everything else that I have going on. Right. And I want people to know if you don't see me on live, it's not just because I don't want to. But there's so many things, so many facets, so many areas to Jeauninè. You may not see it, but there's so many things that I have going on. Right. I work for Hope Christian Center. Well, I don't necessarily I don't get a paycheck from them, but I work for Hope Christian Center. I work for United Fellowship Churches. I don't get a paycheck from them either. I have my job. I am in school where I get lots of reading and homework and assignments, and I am at work being pulled in different directions from the full-time staff, from the temporary staff, from the leadership. Like, I'm being pulled. So there's a lot of things going on with me. So if I'm not present in the moment, it ain't because I fell off. It's just because I'm making sure that my priorities are where they need to go. Right? This hard conversation is one of my passions, and it is a part of my purpose to help men and women be the best versions of themselves. This is absolutely my purpose and my passion that I have. However, I decided that there were things that I wanted to do to enhance Jeauninè and everything that comes with her. So for me, school is necessary. It's important that I focus on that because that's going to help me climb that ladder. So I'm not walking away from hard conversations. I'm still here, but there's just been so many things going on, and I'm going to try my best to lend my hour here because this is what blesses me. This is what proves to me that I'm on the right path. So I just want to encourage y'all tonight. Well, let me just say this. So I was basically solidified to work until the end of the year. Thank you, Jesus. I don't necessarily have to look for a job in this moment, but I am going to find a job, right? I do have to find a job. But I'm crazy enough to believe that even by the time December comes, if I wanted to stay, that God is going to open up a way, that he is going to make a way for me. Whether I have to apply for it or not, it is my desire that they come to me and say, Jeauninè, you have gone above and beyond what we knew you would do. We have this position that we feel is going to be the best fit for you. Giving me what I want, because please believe that I'm still going to get some money out of this. I'm going to get a promotion, and I'm not going to the next step because that's what they wanted me to go. Oh, the next step, you can go here. No, I haven't been working at that next step. I've been above that. So that's where Jeauninè is going. And what you're doing for me is allowing me to continue here and to add more additional things to my resume. So thank you. You thought it was going to be a bad thing for me. And even though it was bad in the moment, it's actually what I needed to boost my resume. It's actually what I needed to encourage people that even when it looks tough, even when it looks bad, even when it looks like there is no door for you to walk through, I promise you, if you believe and trust him, not just believe and trust him, because there are some people who want to believe that he can do it, but don't want to do the work so that they ensure that he does it. I did the work. I'm doing the work to ensure that every time you call my name, even if it's to tell me that I'm about to lose my job, you'll change your mind and give it back to me. Not only will you give it back to me, okay, because I was talking to a young lady the other day at the job, and I said, and I quote, they need to thank me for staying, and I'm not talking about with words. I'm truly enjoying this conversation. Hi, Mother Debbie. I spoke out my mouth. They need to thank me without words. That means give me a couple of hours to say, you know what, Jeauninè, we thank you, because guess what? I could have said, nope, y'all decided for me to go, so I'm just going to take my time and find another job, and I'm going to be out of here. But I didn't, and I didn't understand why I rested in me saying I have school. I kept just saying, I got school. I'm not finished school until December. I have school. I just kept saying that, not knowing what that was going to turn into. Me saying I have school was, I'm going to sit here and do your job while y'all figure it out. But I'm going to sit here, be here, and I'm going to do your job, and I'm going to do what I need to do. But even after saying that, I said that on a Wednesday of last week. They need to thank me, but don't thank me with your words. Give me a little coins. Let me tell y'all how God works and how awesome he is. And God is all-knowing. He's everywhere. He is everything. But one thing I believe, if I can deposit anything into anyone tonight, please don't take him for granted. Please don't treat him like he's a piñata. Please don't treat him like he's Santa Claus. There are some things that God is requiring of us to do. And believe it or not, those things that he's requiring of us, whether it's our obedience, whether it's sacrifice, whether it's serving, whatever he is requiring of us to do, is not just going to flourish or manifest in the church, but it's going to manifest everywhere my feet walks, everywhere I go. All of the blessings that God has given to me, all of the blessings that he has in store for me is going to follow me. And I believe, because I've done my part, right? Because we want to try to skip that part, and we want God to make this way out of no way. We want him to manifest blessings and manifest houses and cars and jobs and we didn't do anything for them. How dare us feel like God is going to throw something in our lap just because he feels like it. We have to make sure that the conditions that he's given us, seek ye first, right? That means that's our part, not his part. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven and his righteousness, and all things will be added. We got to get to the part where we're seeking him. We have to get to the part that we're doing more than just the bare minimum. We got to get to the part where we're serving. Everybody's looking for God to say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Meanwhile, you ain't served nowhere. You ain't served at church. You ain't served on your job. You ain't been into the community. You've done absolutely nothing, but you want God to remember your name in these rooms. Stop it. He got to have something to work with. And I am here to report today that even though I am better from that situation, because it took me out of here. And, other things have taken place since then. But I am here to report that if you do what you're supposed to do, God is always going to prove himself. Always going to prove himself. We got to stop looking for him to give handouts, and we got to start making sure that we are readily and available to do what he has called us to do. That means even on your job, because we can't do what we want to do on a job and think that God is going to still bless us and give us promotion and bonuses. We don't deserve that. We don't deserve that. So we have to make sure that we're in a place to receive what he has for me. However, I'm going to make sure that the things that I ask him for, or the things that I'm requesting, or the things that I have in my petition make sense. Like, I'm not asking him for no big old huge house knowing that I don't want it. Who's cleaning all of that? You know what I mean? So we have to make sure that those petitions and things that we have before him, they make sense. But make sure that those petitions and prayers that you have before God, that you actually did the work for him to move on it. Make sure that you deserve for your name to be called in that room. And when I say, and I had to thank my manager, because she was like, I was like, thank you. So let me take a moment to say thank you. She was like, oh, you're welcome. I was like, no. Let me explain something, because you didn't have to say my name. You could have said, there's 5 other people's names that you could have said, but you said my name. God is awesome. And I walk very proud. Hi, Nina. Love you. Thanks so much for joining tonight. I miss you too. I wanted to come on live. I haven't been. I've gotten a few threatening text messages about not being on and not pushing and not fulfilling this. And again, it wasn't that I just didn't want to be bothered with hard conversations, because this is near and dear to me and this is my purpose. But what I've learned over the years is that even though I come on here and I'm encouraging, even though I'm here and I'm educating, or I'm empowering, or I'm enlightening someone else to be the best versions of themselves, or even if I'm telling a story of something that I've been through, or a conversation that I've had with somebody else, one thing that I understand, that God always has to take time with me too. because most of my wisdom has come from my situations, has come through stuff that I've gone through. And one thing that I try to do, that every situation that I go through, I try to learn the lesson in it so that I don't have to repeat that over and over and over again. Right? And even if that lesson is for me, even if the lesson is me, well, I have to figure out another way. Or Jeauninè, you might have to do something different, or you may have to step away, or you may have to back away. Whatever you need to do, make sure that when you want your name to be called in these rooms, that you are worthy of that seat. We looking for seats that we're not worthy of. We looking for seats that we don't deserve to be in, nor can we handle. But I am grateful to God that even when they told me I had to look for another job and apply for another job, God stepped in and said, not yet. She got a little bit more to do. I need to add some more stuff to her resume. I need her to be there because I need her name to go in bigger rooms. I need her name to be in higher rooms. And so I'm grateful for every experience. I'm grateful. I don't look at things as the enemy is running after me. He's trying to get me. I look at God will always try to get your attention. It's about you paying attention. It's about you knowing what he's saying. It's about you stopping and figuring things out, making a plan, making adjustments when you need to. But I come to report today that even though they told me that in May, I am solidified until December. And I am also reporting that when I spoke that out my mouth Wednesday, give me some change to say thank you for staying here. They did just that. And I'm grateful. And they didn't have to. So in my summary today, in the voice of Tamar, not yet. Okay, your gift will make room for, yes, it will. And it will bring you before great men, right? And even when you get in that room and you are before great men, he is going to equip you with what you need to do and how you need to do it so that your name will carry in the rooms of these great people. I don't desire for my name just to be in the corporate world. I desire for my name to be out there, period, because it's my desire to help people, right? Even if I have to go through different situations and different things to be able to give a testimony or to let you know to hold on or to let you know that what this light affliction, it's not necessarily to harm you, but it's only to awaken what's within you. It's only to let you know you got more to do. And even though they may stop you, it's a pause. It's not a stop. It's a pause. You put me on pause for a moment, but even in that pause, my name still came out in the great room. So I encourage you all today to do what's necessary, right? Do what's necessary for your name to be called, but make sure that when your name is called and you come to the front, you can deliver everything that you set out to deliver, that you can get to whatever the end result is. You have no problem getting that. My name was called in the room. And it was called in a room because of what I've already displayed, what I've already given, and what I've already done. And it's not the first time, and it won't be the last time that they come back and say, you know what, we need you. We need you to stay. We need you to stay. So after all of this, even though I'm going to have more stories because I still got to look for a job. Just not yet. I don't got to look for it, not yet. But in this situation, God has proven himself to me, and I'm also grateful to him. And I'm grateful that something that I go through can be a tip, right, for somebody else, maybe to do something different, because it's always my goal to encourage us. So I just wanted to come on. I haven't been on in so long, and I just wanted to come on. I really didn't have a choice. Like I said, I got a text message that you need to go live or you going live. So I didn't really have a choice, but I'm glad that I came on. I am well. Right? I have some bruises, not physical, from the things that I've been through, but they are only reminders that I won. They are only reminders that though he slay me, yet will I live. Yet will I still work. Yet will I enjoy this little coin that they decided to give me because you need me. Make sure that anytime you want your name to be called in a room, and you want your name to go before great men, make sure that you are worthy of that room and of the seat, you look for it. I love y'all tonight. I hope my testimony was a blessing to someone. Keep pushing, keep fighting. It's not always bad. God sometimes has to shift things in our life to get the best results from us and for us, right? Make sure that you're doing what you need to do. People are watching you, whether you think they are or not. And you must make sure that you are always ready, because you're not sure when they're going to call you into that room. Endure to mature. Listen, that's it. All, Nina, that's it in a lump sum. Because we got to go through, right? We got to go through. We have to. That's where the learning comes from. Back to my favorite scripture, thinking not strange concerning these fiery trials that come to try you, as though some strange thing has happened. But rejoice, inasmuch as these things are to teach us, are to train us, is to give us instruction and give us direction. So don't think that these light afflictions is going to take you out. Don't think that these light afflictions are here to kill you. They're actually here to promote you. They're actually here to put you in the seat you belong. And I love you all tonight so much. There's nothing that you could do about it. It's not how you love me that affects my life, but it's how I love you that affects my life. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Live, okay? And again, everything happens on purpose for your purpose. At the end of it, I promise you, it's going to put you in the winner's spot. I love y'all. Have a great evening. I'll see y'all back Monday. I'll be back. Bye.